So here are some of the boundaries and rules that we need to consider while practicing the 5-tone major scale exercise as it applies to breathing. Eventually, all applications will be performed at the same time. Again, it is like our automobile analogy. Many parts that will work together to make the singing machine run smoothly and, most importantly, controlled. Number 1, inhale through the mouth. A part of inhaling correctly is the need to inhale through the mouth. Now, although this sounds obvious, I do have beginning students from time to time that breathe in the nose when inhaling for singing. Many times it's because of some whacked out voice instructor's foolish lack of understanding on rest breathing versus labored breathing. You see, God gave us 2 ways in which we may inhale, and that is no accident. Breathing through the nose does provide us with a clean stream of air that is filtered and ultimately warmed through the nose hairs and sinus cavities. This is great for many applications, including yoga and Tai Chi, but it is not meant for more aggressive physical activities such as singing, which requires inhales to be drawn in quickly. Watch as I demonstrate the difference between the two. I'm going to inhale first through my nose and then through my mouth. Man, actually hurt a little bit to do it that way. All right, I'm going to go through my mouth now. You ready? You see the difference? Going through my mouth was lightning fast as compared through my nose. Now, number 2, we must inhale low before each and every scale. And by inhale low, I mean to stretch the head up towards the ceiling and allow the stomach to drop downward. Now, the first breath is going to be the easiest to remember as far as inhaling correctly, but the breaths that follow are the actual challenge. This is your time to develop your diaphragmatic inhale as a habit. Remember, the number 1 goal that you have on this, and really all vocalises, is to inhale correctly each time we begin to sing, which is, again, employing 2 basic concepts. Lift the head up to the heavens as we drop the stomach downward to the earth. Number 3, don't wait till the last second to take your breath. The most perfect breath that we could ever hope for in a song is a breath that is allowed to be taken slowly. If only we could have all the time in the world to inhale, how much easier singing would be all around. And yet, I often hear singers who have a normal 2 to 4 bar intro to a song that they're about to sing, and approximately 1.5 seconds before they're singing, I'm hearing a breath that sounds like they've just been startled from a deep sleep. Why do we do this? Especially since we have, all of us know that a slow breath is best. If I were to go outside to get some air, for instance, would I take the fastest breath possible? Or would I take a slow, deep breath? The answer is obviously the latter of the 2. So, if we have a few moments to take a breath, then take them. Don't waste them. Believe me, there will be plenty of time to inhale quickly in a song, but the slow ones may not be as common. So we have to make the most out of them in order to keep ourselves from tiring out so easily. For instance, we always have time at the beginning of a song to take a slow breath, even if the vocals start at the very beginning of the song, because obviously we still have the time before the song actually starts. Also, there are always other spots in songs where there are no vocals, like a guitar solo or instrumental bridge. During your vocalises, there will be spots for longer breaths and times where there won't be. But the rule of thumb is this: if you have a 3 to 5 second pause before you sing, take a 3 to 5 second breath. Now, one added note. It would be optimal if you could allow enough time to hold your breath and pressurize it before you sing. This only takes an extra second, and it is perfect to start a song off especially on slow songs. So the order would be inhale, hold it until the breath is under pressure, and then let it out at that pressure. Number 4, keep steady pressure through the entire phrase. It may be very easy sometimes to forget to keep your voice pressurized through the entire vocal line that you are singing. We often forget to push on the last note, for instance. This mistake is often due to the thought that the phrase is almost done, so we start to back down. The rule is, if we are singing a 4-minute song, it is 4 minutes of work. We must not stop pushing until the phrase is complete. Number 5, the higher we sing, the more energy is required. This statement has become more than just a rule for my students. It is actually taught as a law. You see, rules can be broken, and many times in art we are actually encouraged to break them. But laws are not to be broken. Breaking laws have consequences, and this law of breath control is no different. The higher we sing, the more pressure or energy is required. Now, energy is a great word to describe the strength that we place behind the voice. And often, we look at a voice with a lot of strength behind it as simply being loud. And that is not exactly what is being taught here. One of the most energy-consuming tasks that we can do in singing is to sing in a soft belt voice, for instance. To sing high yet soft without using falsetto actually takes more energy or pressure than singing high loudly. The bottom line is, the higher sing, the more effort, the more power, the more strength, or the more energy is required. What often happens is when the scales or song increases its higher range and becomes more difficult, many unskilled singers back away and actually become weaker. Many times it's because they are afraid of cracking or simply sounding bad. If you ever had fear of cracking in front of an audience or being flat on an important high note, then never ever back away from a high note. If you back away because you're afraid to mess up, then you will do just that. You will mess up. Backing down from a high note is what causes us not to be able to sing high notes well or even at all. Now, for the 5-tone major scale exercises, we will look at the increase of energy as volume. So as each note goes higher, we will increase the volume of our notes slightly. But remember, we are not trying to simply get loud. It is very incremental. If we are singing the starting note at, say, 20 decibels, and then we go to the next note in the scale, this may then be 30 decibels. The next note in order may be 40 decibels, and so on. Think of the swell tone exercise, how the volume of the note, voice increased as smooth and steady as a bell curve would be. It is the same with the 5-tone scale as well as vocal melodies. With this law of increasing range, the opposite is true as well. As the scale decreases its range, we must decrease our energy. Many unskilled singers have the tendency to give the higher notes more volume or energy, as they should, but when the melody drops back down, they are still singing strong, as if the notes are still high. Not only does this not sound musical, it can be damaging to the voice. Imagine that the songwriter wants a very dramatic end to his music, with a lot of strength and passion. Would he or she make the last note low and then expect the singer to still be powerful? No, it would obviously end with a high note, which of course requires the most energy. So you can see it is more musical to obey this law. But as mentioned before, breaking laws have consequences, and one consequence of underpowering the voice is straining the voice, and this can lead to disorders such as nodules, vocal tears, and so on. So again, the higher we sing, the more energy is required, and the opposite is true as well. The lower the note, the less energy is required. But please try to remember, less energy is still energy. We must again push all the way to the end of the phrase, not giving up a few moments before. Number 6, never sing quieter than your speaking voice. As a rule of thumb, the perfect volume to hit any note can be measured against the speaking voice. If my first note of the 5-tone scale is quieter than I would speak, it was underpowered. If the highest note of the scale sounds as if it were akin to yelling instead of speaking, then it was overpowered. Let's take a look at this.
What I'd like to demonstrate for you is how we should always use the speaking voice to tell us how loud to be when we're singing. Now, if I were to count on this note B here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it definitely sounds like I'm speaking. Now, if I were to go any softer, 1, 2, 3, it sounds like whispering almost. And any louder, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's starting to represent or resemble shouting. So let me show you how I'm going to model my singing voice against my speaking voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any stronger than that? 5. It's starting to represent shouting. Now, this is true even as we go higher. I could actually talk on one of these higher notes, like this note E here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that, again, sounds like I'm whispering. 1, 2, shouting. Now, let me, again, use my speaking voice as the model. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can do this all the way up, even the note A. 1, 2, 3. Very similar to my speaking voice. 1. And there's me singing. 1. That was me shouting. Okay, so again, we can easily use the speaking voice as the model for how strong we sing on these different notes.
I truly hope that you will enjoy working with the 5-tone major scale and that you will have success in mastering the 6 challenges that were given in this lesson. I am Stephen Childs of virtualvoicelessons.net, and I would like to say thank you for listening and God bless.